WCNC Charlotte.
Verify is all about trying to make a difference in the community by making sure that the community has the correct information. This is what we know, and hey, this is what we don't know. Sometimes you're actually surprised by the answer.
Verify the difference.
Verify is a great way to combat that misinformation, making sure that people know the process of the reporting.
Time now to connect the dots when we make the news make sense. This morning, a lot of folks are waking up to see their tax refunds hitting their bank accounts, but new numbers show most people either got a big refund or nothing at all.
This year, the average tax refund is more, but fewer people are getting them. Let's connect the dots. The most recent numbers show a little more than 65 million tax refunds have been processed as of the beginning of this month. That's down a few million from last year, which means fewer people are getting money back from the government. But the good news for folks, people who are getting their refunds are usually getting more money. The average refund this year is around $3,000, up from just over $2,800 in 2023. Experts say these refunds are bigger because of new tax brackets, which have a higher standard deduction and higher limits to 401ks. When all is said and done, the IRS expects 2 out of every 3 filers to get a refund. And that's connecting the dots.
A CMS teacher and single mother of 3 says she's trying to do everything right, but still finds herself behind the 8 ball financially. So she reached out to a local nonprofit that helps people learn how to budget and is now starting to get ahead on her own money goals. And as WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us, she can answer where's the money with confidence.
Commonwealth Charlotte is changing lives, in many cases teaching basic budgeting skills that a lot of us simply didn't learn, but they're also transforming lives in some cases by literally giving money away. No. Zamora Livingston was a single mom raising 3 kids and working multiple jobs when she decided to go back to school.
And I would just work during the day. We would come home together from school. They did their homework, I did my homework, and then we made it work.
She used to volunteer at her kids' school, then was a teaching assistant when she decided to become a full-blown teacher.
It's very powerful to me because I want them to see if I can do it with all of my responsibilities, you can do it and you don't have these responsibilities.
But now she has student loans and a tight budget, so she sought help from Commonwealth Charlotte, a nonprofit that teaches financial literacy and works to get people financially stable. Counselors help people with reviewing credit reports and analyzing spending habits.
I think that it's amazing because there's no time like now. And she also has children that she wants to be able to teach them about their finances as well.
Livingston is part of a program called 2080, meant to help people save money and ultimately create generational wealth. She contributes money each month, and Commonwealth, thanks to funding grants from the community, matches it.
I'm thinking more of the future. Like, I accomplished my goal of getting my degree and becoming a teacher, but now it's like, what's the next thing? I want to be able to live comfortably when I'm retired, and I want my children to have that same comfort of being able to live and do things that they want to do.
Her son, a senior in high school, wants to attend App State, but instead is choosing to start at CPCC to save money.
That way, when I transfer, it won't be that much.
It's very hard because one side of it is like, I don't want him to, settle. And then the other side is, okay, well, do I need to go out here and get another job or do something different just so I can help to make that dream come true?
Stuck paying her own student loan, she's hopeful her son won't be. And she says she's optimistic now that she's working with Commonwealth Charlotte.
I've been in survival mode for so long, but sticking to a budget has been very helpful. So I have to be very disciplined on what I spend my money on. I can't just go out here and splurge because at the end of the day, we have to have a home to come home to. It does take work, but it's worth it in the end.
Another one of Commonwealth Charlotte's programs that is, again, changing lives. It helps homeowners stay in their homes. If you want information on that or any of their programs, check out our website, WCNC.com. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte wants to help you get ahead in your finances and your money goals. Our Where's the Money team, along with our digital team, have put together a list of resources to help you with all sorts of money matters. Go ahead, scan that QR code And you can find it for our resource guide, from tax tips to how to lower your insurance rate, and many other ways to save, because we know that every dollar counts. So this guide can make a difference. So just text "GET AHEAD" to the number you see on your screen, and you'll do just that. That's the first step. Turning now to
Everybody gearing up for that summer travel.
That's right. Nice weather, too.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a fantastic day to get outside. Always like giving good news, although we do have a little bit of rain over the next few days to talk about. Today looks fantastic. We have dry air, lots of sunshine in place from Concord to Dallas to Anson County, even up toward the mountains, where it's been very warm there the past few days, and the warmth does continue. Temps right now already peaking close to 70 for the Charlotte area, 72 in Cheraw, and then look at that, already near 60 in Boone, so not too far off from the rest of the foothills down toward the Piedmont. Now, as we progress throughout the day, we are going to see some warmer temperatures, so the pollen level's still up a little bit, but we're starting to get on at least a few days where we have some lower levels compared to, when we're at the absolute peak. So with temperatures in the 70s today, that should certainly help, although we're still pretty much high for tomorrow, Friday, and into Saturday. Now, Saturdays look a teeny tiny bit lower, and the reason why is a few more clouds and some slightly cooler temps. We'll get, of course, to that in just a second. So today looks fantastic, but we eventually do have an approaching storm system coming in from the west. Now, what's interesting to note here is this storm system does look to pretty much split into two, allowing for severe weather across portions there of Missouri, up toward Indiana. You can see it toward Illinois and eventually into Ohio, whereas we kind of get the tail end here of this trough, which will bring some more clouds and some areas of light rain. But right now it looks to be just that, light rain for parts of tomorrow and again on Saturday before we do eventually dry out as that front clears as we enter into Sunday. So that's to say that we have a small chance of rain, but it shouldn't ruin any outdoor plans. The rest of your Thursday looks fantastic. Here's tomorrow morning. We start off with some clouds. Tomorrow's rain, mostly light, mostly some light rain and patchy areas of drizzle. Right now, it does look to be primarily into the afternoon. You can see this paused here at 4 o'clock. So again, nothing to completely ruin plans, but if you don't want to get any kind of raindrops, impacting yourself or, plans that you have to get outside, certainly bring an umbrella. Again, here at 7 o'clock, here we are at 10, and then we do start to fizzle out a bit heading into Saturday. Saturday morning, we start off once again with clouds, areas of patchy drizzle. It'll just be a little bit lesser coverage Saturday compared to tomorrow. So right now we're sitting at 30% chance for Friday, 20% on Saturday. And you can see those cooler temperatures at 76. That's why the pollen level is a little bit lower for Saturday, but we are soaring back into the 80s by Sunday. Definitely the best day to get outside, and temperatures are just going to keep going up, up, up as we progress through most of next week. Rain chances also going up a little bit too. Our next notable chance of rain, though, doesn't arrive until Thursday, and then again a chance by the end of next week. So we are looking relatively rain-free, at least for the next few days, other than some areas of, again, light rain and patchy drizzle both Friday and Saturday. As we check out your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, again today, almost picture perfect. Great for the first Gastonia Baseball Club their game. That first pitch at 6 o'clock. Again, we get to 81 degrees by Sunday, and then all eyes are in the mid to upper 80s as we end in next week and heading to the following week. So these last few days of April, we're certainly going to see a ton of above average temperatures.
WCNC Charlotte.
Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community.
See the difference.
That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
Well, an investigation continues tonight after a standoff that kept people out of their homes for hours in Morrisville. During the hours-long standoff, the Iredell County Sheriff's Office says 27-year-old Dylan Maceland shot at them, so they returned fire. Officers say he was out on bond for assault on a government official and breaking and entering. The standoff came to an end after deputies say Maceland shot and killed himself. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke with neighbors who say they are in shock.
Well, after nearly 13 hours, neighbors are back in their homes tonight after a chaotic day out here. People along Southampton Drive in Morrisville back home tonight after a chaotic day in the neighborhood.
He is firing shots at the officers.
There's a guy in our neighborhood that's been a problem for a while that's barricaded in a house and having a shootout with the police.
Just before 8 a.m., officials were called to the neighborhood for a man, quote, acting crazy. That call came from family of 27-year-old Dylan Maslin.
Shock is the first word that comes to mind, but I'm still processing, the information. But shock's the first word. This doesn't happen, in this area.
Fire officials got to the scene first and claimed Maslin had a knife, so they called for backup. When sheriffs arrived, they say they heard yelling inside the home and say Maslin shot at them. Deputies fired back. One deputy was injured during the standoff, and neighbors say they've never seen anything like this before.
This is a Lake Norman lakefront neighborhood. We've never had a problem like this before.
The hours-long standoff ended when deputies sent a robot into the home to look for Maslin. They say they found him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, the North Carolina Bureau of Investigation is taking over this case. In Morrisville, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, from Earth Day to outer space, today a middle school in Fort Mill is communicating with folks out of this world.
Yeah, we're not talking about the aliens, right? They did make direct contact with the International Space Station. Larry Sprinkle was the only alien down there. Just kidding. He was there for this historical event.
Larry, yes.
Students at Fort Mill's Pleasant Knoll Middle School celebrated Earth Day all the way to the International Space Station. With help from the York County Amateur Radio Society, a group of local ham radio operators, the school was selected to become a direct contact school.
I think as an educator, the one thing you want to do is provide opportunities for kids that they're not going to get anywhere else.
We helped her put an application in, went in, waited about 3 months. We heard we were on the short list. We did a technical review of our ability to make the station contact work, and then we were chosen.
The entire student body assembled into the gymnasium to witness this historical event.
Are you interested in space travel?
I mean, I would do it if I got the opportunity.
At exactly 12:10, contact was made by science teacher Allison Kilowitz with International Space Station astronaut Matthew Dominic.
NA1SS, NA1SS. Here is K4YTZ.
On his ham radio in the ISS, Dominic answered questions from members of the school's ham radio club.
And what is the consistency of your food and how does it taste?
As the signal was beamed from a tower outside the gym to the ISS, everyone got an education into life 250 miles above Earth at 17,400 miles per hour.
I'd say no days are typical. There's always something new up here. Today we're packing the cargo dragon to send a bunch of stuff home to Earth here in a few days. Many days I'm a lab technician doing experiments, or I'm talking to people on the ground. There's no typical day up here. It's all fascinating. Over.
It's a day these students, teachers, and staff will never forget.
Thank you, Mr. Dominic, for your time today. I know these students are grateful for this opportunity. Over.
Well, one of the answers was about the sunrise and sunset and just how he thinks it's really cool to see, and I feel like it would be really cool to see it from there.
It loved the everyday, what every day on the ISS looks like for you, because it shows how the perception of time and perception of life truly is changed when you go up there.
At Pleasant Knoll Middle School in Fort Mill, South Carolina, Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte.
Good morning, Carolinas.
Tune in to the team that's preparing you for your day.
The one and only Larry Sprinkle.
See the difference in your morning.
It is bitter cold just about anywhere you look.
Here's a look right here at I-77 northbound.
Trying to make your dollar stretch a little bit further.
Responsible reporting, community-focused, unique content.
It's so good to see you.
You too. Oh, y'all are having too much fun.
See the difference. Weekday mornings on WCNC Charlotte.
As people are cleaning up after Saturday's severe storms, the Better Business Bureau is issuing a warning to watch out for so-called storm chasers. The BBB says after a storm, people will come out to try to take advantage of homeowners looking for help.
WCNC Charlotte's Vanessa Rufus joining us now for what you should look out for so you're not left asking, where's the money? Vanessa?
Hey, Jane. Hey, Nick. Yeah, so these storm chasers appear to be normal contractors who offer repairs on homes, but the Better Business Bureau, as you just mentioned, says that really you should be careful about who you're trusting with this work and, of course, your money, right? Officials say these scammers usually come out when local contractors are busier than usual. Juliana O'Rourke with the Better Business Bureau says most of the time these storm chasers will use sales tactics that just sound too good to be true, like saying maybe the work will be done quickly. O'Rourke says before hiring anyone for a job, go to the BBB and make sure the business is legitimate.
Not all storm chasers are scammers, but we do want to make sure everybody is aware that sometimes they can be, and that you should make sure they have the licensing requirements for the state that you live in, and that you are getting all of the information you need from them. So get everything in writing, make sure you're getting that quote and getting all the information from them before you proceed.
Now, the Better Business Bureau also says to be cautious when you're asked to pay up front before the work begins or before the supplies are delivered. They say that's a big red flag there. And if you do have to pay a deposit or a portion of the cost, make sure to have a signed contract in place with the payment terms. Guys, we've done reporting before with folks who are trying to basically get what was owed to them or get the work that was done with a contract.
Please keep in mind that we are limited in what we can say related to any of the recent crimes. But our goal today is to reassure our community that we are working hard to solve these crimes and get these suspects off the street. We need justice for the victims. Today I'll cover 3 areas which are provide facts known thus far without jeopardizing the ongoing investigation, share with media and the public what we're doing to solve these crimes, and help, and more importantly, share how the community can help solve these crimes. I want to make sure everybody understands there's no room for this violence in the city of Salisbury. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims, which includes a small, innocent child. Here's what I can confirm. Starting with yesterday's afternoon shooting off of Old Concord Road, a juvenile was shot around 4:30 near the area of South Shaver Street. Officers are actively investigating that incident, and she was transported with non-life-threatening injuries. Last night at 10 p.m., officers responded to reports of a shooting in the 1200 block of South Main Street near the Chestnut Hill Cemetery. Arriving officers located 3 victims, which were 2 young adults and a child. One of the child and one of the adult was hospitalized with life-threatening injuries sustained from the gunshot wounds. The other adult was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries and was eventually released from the hospital. Officers are actively investigating this incident also. We realize there are other crimes over the past 2 weeks. We have strong leads in each of these cases, and our detectives are working around the clock to solve these crimes. I cannot at this time confirm that any of these cases are related or connected. So what are we doing? After the events on April 13th, we consulted with the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations and our federal partners to help solve these crimes. These agencies are currently assisting us with these investigations and are in town. We have offered our current officers overtime pay to increase our patrols in the community, including increase in foot patrols. We are continuing to follow up on leads that we have, and we have some good information on the suspects in each case. So what do we need from the community? There are people in our community who know who committed all of these shootings. We need them to come forward and help us. Here are some ways that the community can help. You can private message us on Facebook or a Twitter page at Salisbury NCPD. You can email at investigations at salisburync.gov. You can call the Salisbury Police Department line, 704-638-533, and ask for the investigative line, where you can leave a voicemail. You can do ROCO alerts /Nixle. You can send a text to the number 888-777 with the words "Tip My Salisbury," followed by the information you wish to provide. Or you can visit the Salisbury Police Department tip webpage at salisburync.gov/report-a-crime. You can choose the incident that you would like to leave a video for or pictures, and it'll give you instructions on how to do that. If you unclick to provide my information, then you can do so anonymously. Let me reiterate, we will not tolerate this violence in our community. Now is the time for us to come together to combat these issues. I will take questions, but please remember, I'm very limited in what I can answer.
Can you tell us the age of the baby from last night?
It's an infant. I can't tell you the exact age, but it's an infant.
Boy or girl?
I can't tell you that.
Do you have the age of the young juvenile who was shot earlier in the day?
A juvenile. I'm not going to release her age due to the age. I'm not going to release it. being a
Can you
juvenile.
speak to their conditions this afternoon? Well, two that were in critical condition.
They are in stable condition as of now. The baby and the adult from last night, they're in stable.
The one that was taken to Baptist, both are in stable. Both of the adults are in stable.
The baby and the adult that was taken to Baptist are in stable. The one that was transported to Cabarrus Hospital has been released.
Were either of the female victims from last night the infant's mother?
That I don't know.
Can you talk about this sort of, you touched on the two crimes last 2 weeks ago. Chief Smith talked to City Council about how this was a pretty big spike in crime for the area. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Let's reiterate the same thing he said. Our numbers were down, and because of a small amount of incidents, the spike our numbers.
You mentioned stepping up foot patrols. Is there specific areas where this will be happening?
So in our hot spots and areas that these crimes have occurred.
You just talk a little bit about what the officers will be doing. I mean, this is extra, this is overtime, but this is obviously something that you guys are trying to work on and trying to cut down on time.
Sure. When the officers, when they come out on their overtime, they don't answer normal calls. They patrol certain areas. So they wouldn't answer the larceny at Walmart. They're going to stay in that area to be visible.
So they will be in uniform?
Yes.
And it'll be like in vehicle patrol.
Yes.
And are we to believe these were targeted, or should, anyone else be concerned at all at this point?
No, there's no active threat to the community. And we're early in the investigation, so I can't answer that question.
Will this impact security protocols for the Cheerwine Festival next month?
No, sir. We've got very, very good protocols in place.
I spoke with some members of the community earlier who were worried that this might be gang-related activity. Are you looking into that?
So we're early in the investigation. We are looking into that, but I cannot confirm or deny that right now.
Any more questions? Can you talk a little bit about, you said federal partners and SDI. How are they helping?
So they bring their own expertise, and they're helping out with interviews and any kind of expertise they bring in, but mainly interviews.
Did you guys just bring them in after last night's?
So the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation helps us out a lot. So they actually have officers in our detective division. So they are normal around here.
What's going through the minds of the officers at Salisbury PD right now? I mean, this is a difficult time. There's a spike in crime. You guys are working really hard, working overtime hours, and responding to two juveniles, an infant and a juvenile being shot last night. What are your feelings as having years of service here?
So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating that the community is impacted by this senseless violence, and that we need the community members that saw it to step up and tell us. It's highly frustrating. Even though some of us may not live in Salisbury city limits, it's our community.
On the same note, Major Cruz, if you were talking directly to the folks here in the community who might see this, glad to see y'all working so hard but still be scared by what's going on here, what would you want to say to them tonight?
I get being scared, and that's why we have multiple ways to contact us and be anonymous. And we ask that they follow those ways. That, if they have a video of the incident, they can share that video, and we don't necessarily need to know who shared it with us, but the fact of the video helps out tremendously. And that's just an example.
Can you confirm that the people in the shooting, the victims, were related to the 26-year-old who was killed at the memorial several weeks ago?
I cannot.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New at 11.